or catching us on the replay, trust that something in this conversation is here for you. Today, I'm joined by Charlie Marie, and her journey is one of deep transformation that started around 2022, where she went through a series of intense experiences that basically she describes as inner hell. And on the other side of that, something happened. So, Charlie, welcome to the Returned.
Thank you, MJ, for having me. It's truly an honor.
Oh, you're so very welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. So, Charlie, do you want to just jump right into it and take us back to all the inner hell that you went through?
I think I got to start from the beginning. Uh,
Sure.
so basically, I grew up in Rhode Island, and I have to say that my childhood was very unstable. My mom and dad both had childhood trauma of their own, and their relationship would be on and off a lot. So we would move, and again, they'd be together, they'd break up. So that just made me feel not really safe in my home. And where I found safety and security was in nature. I would go outside and spend hours in the woods searching for salamanders, caterpillars. I love chasing butterflies. I literally am pretty good at finding four-leaf clovers. So if you want one, I could probably find one for you. But that's what I spent my childhood doing. And I also remember like making up songs and singing them to the trees. And then I would speak in random languages to the trees. I just connected to nature.
Wow.
And that's really kind of what got me through. When my mom and dad ended up getting divorced, we went and moved in with my grandmother, my sister and I, and my mom. And that's when I started to have more stability in my life. And while we were living there, my dad was still embarking on his journey. So my dad had a lot of, again, trauma and pain that he carried. He had drug and alcohol issues, and he was homeless for most of his, I feel like, middle life. And
Mm-hmm.
then I would visit him at halfway houses. And then he ended up becoming a born again Christian and working at the Providence Rescue Mission. And when he became a Christian, I could tell that things had shifted for him. And yeah, I just saw that having Jesus in his life helped him. And so I kind of got deeper into that. But then, unfortunately, my dad's pain would still take him out back and forth basically to his addiction. And I just feel like because of that, I kind of like cut myself off from all of that and just wanted to focus on the world and being accepted. And
Right.
so when we moved in with my grandmother, I started taking vocal lessons, and that's when I really got into music and started singing. And there's actually this one story that I feel like is important to tell because when I went to vocal lessons, I was imitating. I wanted to be like Faith Hill, I wanted to be like a star on the radio. And my vocal instructor basically told me that I was imitating and I had to sing in my own voice. And I didn't understand what the heck the guy was talking about. And I went home and I cried. And I did actually pray to God because we all turn to God when we're in these moments. And then the next day, I something went off in my head like a light bulb. And then I was able to sing with my own voice. So
Mm-hmm.
again, throughout my life, my purpose felt like just trying to become successful, famous, a country star. I thought if that happened, that I would basically experience acceptance and love that was something I didn't necessarily feel from my early childhood. And so, yeah, I just continued on that journey. I moved to Nashville. I learned how to write songs there. I worked with producers and met other people in the music industry. But a theme too that I kind of faced on and off throughout my life was feeling like I wasn't good enough. And so when
Oh.
I went to Nashville, like a lot of the people there, they tell you that like there's all these things you have to change about yourself. And then if I would write a song by myself, I didn't feel like it was good enough unless I co wrote with someone else. And I never thought that I would leave Nashville, but life has had a tendency of pushing me all over the place where it wants me to go. So it ended up pushing me back home to Rhode Island. And then I ended up actually finding the most success in my music career when I came back home to Rhode Island. And I felt like I'd had awakenings throughout my life when I would go through immense suffering. But
Mm-hmm.
once everything calmed down, I would just end up going back into kind of like the illusion and the game of again chasing myself outside of me, I guess. Um, but when I moved back home to Rhode Island, I met a local guitar player and we started going on tour and playing more. And I put out my second EP that received the most attention that I'd ever really received. And when this was happening, you think that I would feel good about it and happy, but I actually felt really bad. I started feeling like these crazy emotions that I did not understand. And I didn't really know what to do. The only thing that kind of helped me was like cannabis, but then it got to the point where that really wasn't doing anything. So I tried meditation. I would go to yoga religiously. I started reading spiritual books. But these things still kept happening to me. So I didn't really know what to do. I just kept pushing forward.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2020, when COVID happened, I had to face even more of this. And again, it just felt overwhelming and like something I couldn't really handle. But I continued on, I continued trying. And then there came a point where I even tried therapy. That didn't really work for me. I tried a life coach. That didn't really work for me. And in 2021, um, in the fall, basically in the beginning of 2021, I had put out my record Ramble On. And I kind of missed something. I'm going to jump back.
Sure,
So
no
when
problem.
so when COVID happened, um, I had to stop working like everyone else. And when we got things opened up again, I went back to waitressing. And something that I didn't want to experience again was going without work because I did
Mm-hmm.
not like that experience. So I decided to get a job at Amazon. And I worked at Amazon while I was putting out Ramble On. And I ended up working at this COVID testing station with this lady named Darlene, and she would tell me about her travels. And I was reading this book called Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey at the time. And he talks about how if you feel lost and confused inside yourself, like if you go on a journey, it'll help you. So I thought that while I was putting out Ramble On, I would face these fears, face these energies that I was feeling once and for all. And if I went on some journey by myself, I would be free
Mm-hmm.
of them. So I came up with this itinerary. I was going to go out in nature and connect because that is what basically helped me as a kid. And so I flew to Washington. I rented a car. I bopped around all these different parks. I remember the first time I slept at a rest stop by myself and I like survived. I was so excited. I felt like a kid on Christmas doing things most people probably would not enjoy. Um, but yeah, I just continued doing that. And then the ending of this trip was going to be in Arizona where my aunt and uncle lived. And then again, I was going to fly back home to Rhode Island. But as coming back home approached, I started feeling the heaviness again that I was trying to escape from. And then when I got home and I had all of these performances and all of these interviews that I had to do because I had released this record, I felt like I didn't want to be here anymore. And it was just kind of a really, really hard time because, again, I had tried so much to get out of this feeling and to get out of this like dark, heavy place. But no matter how hard I tried, I felt like I kept kind of having to go through this. And so, again, at the end of 2021, I did all these things. I play Americana Fest in Nashville. I meet some music industry guy. He sets up this string of co-writes. I'm gonna write with Vince Gill, which is a huge thing. I still saved his voicemail. Anyway, it was a big deal. But then I got COVID, my grandmother got COVID, my whole family got COVID, and then things started shifting even more. So at this point, I was listening to Ram Dass, and he's an advocate for psychedelics. And I decided, you know what? I am going to take a large dose of psychedelics. Again, I'm going to face whatever the heck keeps coming up inside of me and be rid of it. I ask my dad, I say, Dad, he has an apartment. I'm like, can I take mushrooms in your bedroom? He's like, okay, just make sure you're careful. So I bless them. I bring a picture of my inner child. I have my journal. And basically, what I'm faced with is my inner child wanting to kill itself and not wanting to do music anymore, basically wanting to take a break. So I decide to take a break from music. And at this point, once I did that, like the person that I was playing music with and was my best friend, that relationship kind of dramatically ended. So then things continued to shift. The one thing that I did try that helped me a little bit was I tried Reiki. And when I did Reiki, it kind of reminded me of being in nature. I felt kind of like I was at home, like I could feel, it kind of felt like where we come from.
Right.
It felt very peaceful. And I kind of wanted just to continue to do that. I wanted to continue to feel that.
Right.
And so I kind of thought about going on another journey, except this journey was going to be longer than the one that I had went on. Um, and I decided to take another round of mushrooms, a larger dose. This time again, I blessed them. I walked through the woods. I went down some back road. It was in February, so there was snow on the ground. I walk through the woods. I sit against a tree. And when I close my eyes, again, I feel like I'm in an inner hell. And I see this dancing figure. It reminds me of Kali. And I don't know what to do. I just surrender and I apologize. And there comes a point where I put my head against the tree and the sun hits my face and I burst into light. And it was a very strange experience. It kind of felt like I was electrocuted. And in a way where it's like I was just awakened, I guess you could say. All I know
Mm.
is I burst into light. I had to sit there for a little while and then I mustered up enough strength. I walked home. At the time, I was really into William Henry. He had episodes on Gaia. I was watching him and I just cried because a lot of the times when I have these experiences too, I just feel like a lot of energy and emotions come out. And during this time, I felt like I was being called to go to this place called Pilot Mountain, which is in North Carolina. And so this was the first time that I ever traveled in my own car. I kind of did it last minute. I booked an Airbnb and I traveled to Pilot Mountain. And again, I slept in my back seat. So it was kind of freeing because, again, it was my own car. And when I got there, I like had a couple of days to scope out the mountain. When this day came, so the purpose of me going to Pilot Mountain was I wanted to connect on this holy day, which was February 22nd, 2022. I thought that if I was there for that day, I would
Mm.
have some sort of experience. And this time I wasn't on anything. I was just again connecting to nature and I went up on the mountain at this time on this day. So it was 2:22 in the afternoon. It was a cold, foggy, like kind of rainy day. And I found myself on the side of the mountain and I started meditating and I felt like I had this type of ceremony with the Native American spirits there and it felt very positive and I felt like lightened enlightened after that. And when I got off the trail, there was this group of ladies and they invited me into their circle and I was like, okay, I'll join your circle. Like, this is random. I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be right now. Okay. And so when I joined their circle, there was a point where we stood up and lifted up our hands, and when I did that again, I bursted into light. And it was just it's just a weird experience because the only thing that I can think of is like when people talk about near death experiences and the light. So that's why I kind of also am into listening to them because I haven't had like heard anything else about the light. um so then again, I continue on the journey I of this awakening. And basically, I end up back home. I'm taking Reiki classes. Now my life really starts to shift. Um, my grandmother and I kind of have a falling out. The guy that I was going out with at the time breaks up with me. And then again, my dad is not into what I'm doing because he's a Christian. He thinks I'm messing with the devil. And because I'm into Reiki now. And uh, I remember getting into an argument with him, and then the next day, um, we talked about it, and he was saying how he thought he was going to pass away. And I didn't believe that what he was saying. I didn't believe that. And then the next day he ended up passing away. And it was just a very strange experience how all these things happened at once. And I kind of felt like during this journey that I went on, my dad's spirit was with me the entire time. And I
Mm.
also took his ashes and spread them basically all over the United States. Um, but yeah, there was another experience where I bursted into light again, and then from there on, I basically would receive breadcrumbs from like different people that I would meet of going to like certain places, and um, like I went on this yoga hike in North Carolina, and I met this girl there that was the only person basically on the hike with me besides the instructor, and she told me about this place called Star Dreaming, and um it was in New Mexico, so I decided to go there because she had recommended it. And when I went there, the person was talking about light language, which was something I'd never heard of.
Mm.
And long story short, there's this key retreat that I go on this journey where I meet this woman named Kalina. She's a part of the healers that are there. They all have like these supplemental videos. When I listen to her video, she's doing light language. I can feel a bunch of energy coming off of me. When I'm at this retreat, there's this woman named Janet. She was eating by herself, and I go and join her. And come to find out, her dad passed away also. She tells me, hey, if you're ever back in this area, if you want to stay at my house, you can stay at my house. And, long story short, I go back to my aunt and uncles and visit them. I go to Los Angeles, visit a friend there. I bopped all around. I ended up back in Sedona because the original Reiki practitioner that I went to in Rhode Island had a retreat. I went on that, and then I visited this woman, Janet, and her friend, I think it was one of her best friends. Her name is Janet Eichhorst, and this woman Kalina were having a retreat in Mount Shasta, which was the week before this other retreat that I had booked in Mount Shasta. And so I decided to go there. When I went there, I kind of felt insecure because, again, I felt full of pain. I had not been really on this in depth spiritual journey like everyone that was there, really. And there came a point where they did like individual healing sessions on us. And when it came to my point, I felt like a lot of stuff got ripped out of me, and I just screamed. And it was intense, like this whole journey kind of has been for me. And then when the retreat ended, the morning that I hugged Janet and this woman, Kalina, goodbye, I could feel this love, and it kind of felt like the sun shining through their chest. And ever since then, I have been able to feel that. And I think that was like a really big turning point for my healing journey and my basically journey here in general. And then yeah, it's
So
just been a
interesting.
continuation. It goes on and on and on. And I've continued to do inner work, and it kind of feels like something that never ends.
Yeah, wow. Charlie, I really want to get into the bursting into light and what that actually means to you, so that the audience can understand exactly what you mean by bursting. I just burst into light. So that sounds, well, interesting.
I
So can you
definitely think
tell
it's
us what it
interesting.
feels like when that happens?
Yeah, when it happened to me that year, it kind of felt like I had been in this darkness. And then finally, it kind of felt like something would crack open inside of me, and everything would just turn into this light. And I kind of feel like inside of all of us is this light, and I feel like it's who we all really are. And so to me, I just kind of feel like the bursting into light was my true self shining through.
I see. So it
I
was
don't
more of a feeling than a thing.
I mean, I think it kind of felt like when I would close, like again, when I closed my eyes, it felt like something that was real. It didn't
Oh,
feel
okay.
like it didn't feel like it was just a feeling. It felt like it was
So
a
you actually seen this light.
it was in yeah, it's kind of like
Okay.
you can see it within your mind's eye. I don't know how to
Right.
explain it, but when I think about it now, because that's kind of what I'll think about sometimes, it reminds me of the sun. And
Oh.
it's just a very interesting like experience. I don't know why that happened. The only light I can say I hear other people talk about is when they have NDEs.
Mm-hmm.
And like I had mentioned, I was hoping that I would have something different, but these are the experiences that I had, and I think it's just helped me realize that that's what I want to continue to go to is the light. If whenever I'm in these dark places, like I have to remind myself that that's who I am. I'm actually the light.
You are. You are that. Absolutely. And so I just wanted to touch, if it was okay, a little bit on your dad and his knowing that he was going to actually pass. That's interesting that he knew. Did you have any inclination that your dad might be passing at all? Like a feeling, a knowing, a thought something was off?
It kind of felt strange. I felt like someone may pass. I thought it might have been my grandmother. Um, but I didn't really believe my dad that he was going to pass because there'd been so many experiences in my life where I thought he was going to pass away from like being in the
Mm-hmm.
hospital and then he never did. So I didn't really take it seriously at the time, but I think
Mm-hmm.
that my dad was actually a very sensitive person and I think that's why he kind of ended up doing the stuff he did because I think he could feel a lot of things and was actually pretty in touch and like couldn't handle it. And I think kind of that's where I get a lot of my I guess it's kind of like the sensitivity. I think I kind of get it from him.
Mm-hmm. And so now on your journey, where are you now on your journey with healing, with spirituality or religion if you have a religion? Where are you with that these days?
I guess the biggest thing that I've been shown is that we really are our own healer.
Mm,
I've went through a lot of phases, even recently, where I still continue to look outside of myself for like a healer to quote unquote kind of like save you. Um, but I really think it's an inner job. And I kind of have been shown that it's a continuous journey. It has gotten easier for me. I feel a lot more stable within myself. And a lot of it has been about connecting to my heart and listening to my heart's voice. Because for so long, I was listening to all these other voices around me and trying to make other people happy. Because a lot of my journey also has been about learning to love myself and kind of accept all these different parts of myself. And it always begins and ends with me connecting to my heart. And I think that's why too, like maybe when I bursted into light, like it was a way for me to open up to this experience that I had with that woman, Kalina and Janet, where then finally, when that retreat ended, I felt like I could finally open my heart and feel like this love
mm,
and light inside of me because before that, I couldn't. I just felt pain every time I went to my heart.
aw, yeah, that doesn't sound good. I'm really glad that those experiences happened for you. I
It
think it's
was,
leading you on the right path. I think it really is.
yeah, I think that I'm just here to continue to do music and sing. I mean, it feels like what I'm called to do and it makes me feel the best. So I'm just going to continue to listen to what feels good and that's what I've been doing now.
Yeah, Charlie, something really stands out to me about your journey, though. And it seems that your journey didn't stay internal, if you know what I mean. It feels like your journey found its way into expression. So creative expression is how I see it. Does that relate? Like, do you resonate with what I just said there?
Yeah, cuz I think if I didn't go on this journey, like I wouldn't have the music that I have now for like the record that I'm putting out soon. And I kind of like this whole record is kind of about this journey that I went on to like self discovery and healing. And I feel like it's annoying, but I've always, even with my past records and songs that I've written, I have to go through these really uncomfortable experiences to be able to write about them. And also
Right.
like to understand. And I think a lot of this stuff has just been really humbling.
Mm-hmm.
And it just continues to break me open. And I think in the past I was serving my ego because I think that's a part of the fate, like the process and the phase. But now I want to continue to serve that light and to serve, I feel like, where we all come from. And that's just kind of what I feel like I'm doing now. Like I just kind of want to be this light that I was shown and try to bring it here as much as possible, because I don't know if everyone else has had these experiences, but it's been really heavy for me here. And I wish I wasn't sensitive, and I wish I didn't feel emotions like I do, because I don't think everyone kind of feels. Sometimes they just
Yeah.
feel like wild storms, and I've gotten good where I can like hold space for them now. But when they first start happening, it's like you don't understand how to deal with it. And so, like I said, I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy I finally have an understanding now, but it took a lot of time. It
I
wasn't,
bet.
I guess it didn't happen overnight, but I think we all have our own experiences and our own journeys, and everything happens for us.
Yeah. Not to us,
No.
right? So you've taken everything that you lived, everything that you felt, and you've turned it into music.
For the most part, yes.
And I know that you brought something here very special with you today. And are you comfortable with sharing a song with us?
I feel like I need to sing some of Kalina. So I wrote this song called Kalina
Okay.
after that experience because, like I said, after it, I felt like I could finally feel this love inside of me that I wasn't able to feel before.
Mm,
And I felt like I went on a ramble on session, but thank you
it's
for listening.
okay. No, no, that's what we're doing. We're
I
talking
definitely
spiritual.
rambled. All
Yeah.
right.
This is excellent. I'm so excited. Thank you.
The crow spoke out, red dirt danced. I was a long ways from the family ranch. Golden hour faded, cold coyotes howled. Out in the distance, I saw a wise old owl. Shadow circled, fear was at my neck. I heard your voice, you wore a white dress. Kalina, the Holy Spirit moves through you. Kalina, your brown eyes turn ocean blue. Brought me out of the dark, back to my sacred heart. Kalina, love only needs a spark. 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 Love only needs a spark.
Mm, that was so very nice. I loved it. It almost sounded like you were saying my name.
It kind of does. I was thinking that. I'm like, that's so
Yeah, I
wild,
was like,
Melina.
wow, I got the goosebumps when you were singing. You should be so very proud of yourself that you've come so far, you know. Not a lot of people can say they've come this far, Charlie. And look what you've done.
It's, I don't know. It's just, it's funny because, like we were talking about earlier, I feel like I have come so far.
Yeah.
But then I have these experiences that bring me right back to certain points on the journey. Like, but then, like I said, from doing all of this, now I have tools and I can sit with it and I can move the energy and then I feel lighter. But it's been wild. It's and now I'm just gonna say, so from doing all of this stuff, the energy that I feel in my chest, I'm starting to feel it now, but I'll feel it in my chest, and now sometimes I'll feel it in my throat. Sometimes I'll feel it all over, but it's like it feels so good. It feels like home.
Mm, I love that. You're doing what you need to be doing. You know, my throat, before I started the return, I always had like this strange feeling in my throat. And it was like a tightening. Like it wasn't a sore throat from being sick. It was like a tightening that was on my throat, like on my neck. And then when I started the return, once told my story, that went away. It completely went away. It was unbelievable. It was like my throat needed to speak, right? Like it was just so, so very interesting. So I understand that. So after singing, how do you feel? Are you in the zone? Are you in the
I feel
flow?
better after I sing.
Yeah.
I just feel
Mm-hmm.
better. Cause yeah, at first I felt nervous because I don't ever talk about like I've never done this before. I've had interviews with
Yeah.
music, but anyway, and I just kind of felt like I don't know. I felt nervous when I was talking before, but now I just feel more at home because like yeah, when I sing, it makes me feel better.
You know what I like about you, and I like about, I'm so happy to be doing these lives for the return because I can bring different stories on the returned live than I would bring on the returned episodes or my show. But I really like that everyday people have a way of getting their selves through life, and it's authentic and it's real. It's not made up. It's just, hey, I've had these experiences. I've lived in my car. I've traveled. I've done all these things. I've faced myself. I've faced my demons. I've faced everything. And you have a real story to tell to us. And that's what I love about this. So people can actually empathize with it and they can relate to you being a normal, person with these normal thoughts.
Yeah, I think that everyone has like their own experiences and their own journey, but I'm just so happy that I never gave up. Because there's a lot of
Mm,
times that I didn't want to keep going. And like, even like I was saying, sometimes where I have to go through some, like facing something else inside, it's frustrating,
mm-hmm,
but I know that I can always get through it. And I know that, like, they always say that, life doesn't give you more than you can handle, but it's the truth. And if we don't give up, or if you don't give up, like, things always get better.
mm-hmm. They always do, don't they? I just was having a talk with my husband about that this morning because it always seems that things always happen when they're supposed to happen, at least for me. And I'm sure quite a few others out there. But we're talking about moving. And my husband had like he was we're thinking about doing more of a lake kind of lifestyle, like being more near the water and just chilling kind of thing. So he was at work and then he went outside and he was just staring off into nowhere, and his boss came up to him and said, oh, just think of it being you're just think you're looking into a beautiful lake. So like things like that, when they come out of the blue from people, it's like these little um innuendos or even like little surprises during the day that you might be going on the right path. That's kind of how I see it. So everything is a sign to me. Do you feel the same?
I really do. So I kind of went through another, I feel like you go through these levels, but I went
Mm,
through this level this winter where, because I used to waitress also aside from singing,
mhm.
but then I got like this message that no, you need to focus on singing now. And when you get these messages, they're scary.
I
It's like,
know.
oh, gee, thank you. Okay, yeah, let me just not worry about, because bottom line is like we all have to have money to like survive. So it just scared me because I'm like, great, now I'm not gonna have like be making money. I'm in this weird in between phase. I have to book shows, whatever. But I've been playing at senior centers, retirement homes, nursing homes now, and it has been unbelievable. Like you're talking about the
Mm,
synchronicities. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes, not every show. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there's been some shows where I sing and a couple ladies tell me I suck. Which again, it's like, okay, hey, it's humbling. It is what it is. You're not everybody's cup of tea. But some of
That's
these
right.
people, like, I really connect with them and it feels like they're touching my soul. And that's why, like, I feel like I'm serving. And I don't know. I used to think that I was supposed to be this certain person. And now I've realized that I already am that person. And I'm just here to continue to do what makes my soul shine. And that's what I've been doing with singing. And it's just really nice when you can connect with people. And
Yeah.
it's just the best. I just really get off on connecting with people in like a
You
real
know, I
way.
get you. I get you on that because I'm the same way. Like, since I started the return, I have never felt more fulfilled in my life. This has been so life changing just for myself. You know, I bring people on and they've got these great stories and you know, I've got my own stories, but I learn, just like I was saying to you earlier, I learn from these people every single time that they're on. Um, I learn something. So it's so interesting, the people that we meet, just like you and I. You know, I felt something about you. I'm like, no, you got to come on the live because I felt it right away. And I just thought it would be fun. And I like your story and I like your attitude towards things. And you're really giving it all you've got.
Yeah, at first, like I said, I didn't feel, I'm like, I did not have a near death experience. Like I told you, I had those series
Hmm.
of experiences of turning into light. But yeah, it's just been really nice to feel like the more that I listen to that voice inside, the better I feel. And like you said, the more I receive signs, the more I'm connecting. And it makes me feel really happy about actually being here on earth. And it kind of gives me hope for the future. Like every time I meet certain people, it's that touch my heart. It's kind of magical. And
Yeah.
it's really, really hard to explain until you have these experiences. But I think we all have these experiences. Sometimes we're just not aware of them.
Was there ever a time when you just didn't feel like, are you saying that there was a, sorry, I'm going to rephrase that. Are you saying that there's a time when you just didn't want to be here on Earth?
Yeah, I guess I was trying to say that when I came back from that first little journey when I traveled around. Because when I first traveled around to Utah, and like again, I spent a lot of times in these national parks. I don't know if you have ever like spent a lot of time in national parks, but there's something that is really freeing about them. And so when I went on that journey and I felt really free, and then you have to come back
Mm-hmm.
because we all have to have jobs and stuff and we all have roles that we have to play. But when I had to come back to that, like I didn't want to be here anymore. So now that I'm at this point where like I'm singing and it feels like what I'm supposed to do, where before it felt like a job and it felt very heavy. And I think that's another reason why I actually kept going at these energies, because it was like, no, I want to enjoy doing what I'm here to do. And for a long time, I felt like there was these blocks in front of me feeling my joy and feeling this energy inside of me that is more than these blocks and like these, it kind of sometimes just felt like pain, but like the more you move through it, again, the more you're able
Mm-hmm.
to open yourself up to this energy inside of you. And yeah, now I'm just feeling really happy and I'm feeling good inside of myself. And it took me so long to get here. But I'm telling
Mm-hmm.
you, like, if I can do it, anyone can do it. You just can't give up on yourself, because I feel like for me, I came here to learn to love myself and to listen to myself. I don't
Right.
know if you've had experiences like that.
I have had a lifetime of that, to be honest. Yeah, I have. I had a really rough upbringing as a child. And then along with having quite a rough upbringing, you pick up certain things and then you repeat patterns. And you know, I was a mother at 16. You know, I went the hard road through everything as I kind of learned that. So But there's no judgment. I just did, and I wouldn't change it, to be honest. I wouldn't change it for one moment. So along my journey, I had many times, I've heard many things, voices, and of course, I had seen or saw spirits since I was 3 years old. So my background was a teeny bit different. And it was exciting. And now it's even more exciting. And but yeah, I mean, I've come to crossroads before, and I've known it. I've known it clear as day that you're going to go either this way or you're going to go this way, but one way is not the good way. And every single time I took the wrong way. So it's okay though, because sometimes that's where the best lessons are learned, right? So just because I chose to go this way instead of this way doesn't make it wrong or bad. It just might mean that you have more learning. And that always seemed to be my case until I finally stopped doing the same things over and over again in my life and stopped choosing the same people over and over and over again, and then stopped choosing the same situations over and over again. All of them were the same, just different scenery, different like a suit people were wearing, just different people, but it almost seemed like they were all the same. And when I realized that, that's when everything changed for me, for myself. So I would like to ask, have you ever heard spirits? Have you ever heard, because I heard you say that you let that inner voice speak. Is that an actual hearing, a knowing, an intuition, or what is it that you actually feel?
I'm not gonna lie. I wish that I heard the like I actually heard the voice. It is like all of a sudden I'll have this idea. Like some yeah, so sometimes I'll get these ideas and I know that they're not me. It feels like it's
Mm,
something I wouldn't have thought of. And then if I act on it, I like really positive things happen. And
mm-hmm.
then if I don't act on it, it's kind of like I missed an opportunity. But what I have been doing is so I'll go, I have this little corner in my room, I have a sound bowl, I bang it. Okay, I do my little whatever I do. I put my hand on my heart and I sit and I start to connect. And when I start to do that, I feel calm and peace. And then I just start to feel like my inner voice starts to tell me things. And sometimes what it tells me is not as direct as I would like. Sometimes it's like, that I have to trust, which is my favorite thing to be told because it's not easy to trust. But then
Mm-mm.
it's been
It's
so
so hard.
wild. It's been so wild because like a couple weeks ago, I don't have as much money as I once had saved. So now that I've been in this in between phase, I like whatever. I'm doing what I'm doing, but I had to get my car fixed, so I had to charge a bunch on my card, and then my show got canceled, and I was PO'd, and then I I connected, and I got like, you just got to trust, you got to keep going, and then I booked a different show. I made way more money than I would have made on my way home from that show. I get a call from a music supervisor. They want to use my
Mm.
song for a TV show, but these things have
Oh,
just been happening so randomly. And it's like, I'm being showed that, like, yeah, you have to just keep trusting and you have to really honor the signs. Cause like I said, I'll have some shows or some days where it just feels off. But then like a day later, I'm shown again, oh, nope, you're doing what you're supposed to do. Cause I'll have this really cool conversation with someone and I'll be like, wow, that really touched me. Nope, I'm where I'm supposed to be. But yeah, I feel like this is what happens.
so what is that knowing that you're speaking of? Like, is that like spirit? Is it God? Is it your higher self? Like, what in your way, in your mind, do you think that is that's giving you that knowing?
I feel like it's my higher self slash God. That's kind of what it feels like. Um, And like I was saying to you, when I listen to that, sometimes I have to face fears to do what it's telling me to do. But when I do it, I am so much happier than, like you said, if I keep being in the same groups of people, because that's what I have literally just cycled out of. There's certain members in my family that were not good for me to be around. But like you
Yeah.
said, I'd call in relationships that were just like them. And
Yeah.
then I would say no, and things would end. And then like I was recently, like again, I've had jobs where I feel like it's my family dynamic, but I keep allowing this into my life. So you have to
Yeah.
say no. But doing it, it's scary.
It is so
But every
scary.
time we face our fears, something positive happens.
Well, doesn't it though? And that's the truth is like, but it's so hard sometimes to get up that courage. And, to anybody out there that's actually, trying to do this right now, we know it's hard, but you're not alone. And just to keep with it, because I truly do believe, like, I did not think I could do this on YouTube. I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. And, I felt like I was facing a huge fear for some reason. I don't even know what the fear is exactly, but I faced it, and you feel so much better when you do, right?
You do. It something shifts and you kind of get a gift. It's
Mm,
something like you get
yeah.
something for it. And even like doing this today, I felt a lot of fear around it. And I just feel like this has been a positive experience. And I'm happy that I faced my fears and I did this. Feel like I grew a little bit from it.
Oh, I love that you did this too, Charlie. And anything to do with helping you face fears, I'm all for. Absolutely. I want one last question. So, out of all of this, all of your life experiences, all of your creativity and your growing and your learning, what truth sits inside of Charlie? What truth keeps you moving every day?
I think it's the truth that I know where I come from and where I'm going is love and light. And that I'm here just to listen to my heart and to trust in my compass.
Yeah.
But I think that's what
Yeah.
we're all here to do in our own way, and that we all deserve and we're meant to be here. Because that was something else that I faced is kind of I've been seeing that there's still some wounds around feeling like worthless and stuff. But I know that we're here for a reason, and that's just stuff that we're here to heal. And it's not here to stay. I think that eventually these things do turn into something different.
So we're getting down to the end of our show here, Charlie. So I would really like to know, actually not me know, but to let the audience know, how can someone reach out to you? How can they hear your music? How can they see or connect with you?
I have a website. It is charliemurraymusic.com. If you go there, there's my email. It brings you to my music videos, but that's probably the best place to go. So yeah, charliemurraymusic.com.
And you have a YouTube channel,
I do have a YouTube channel. I'm on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all of those things.
and you can be found on Instagram as well,
Yes, Instagram,
right?
Facebook. I kind of use TikTok once in a while, but yeah, all those things.
That was so fun. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thanks again for having me. Like I said, I've definitely faced some fears doing this, but it was worth it. So thanks again for having me. Melina. I want to say now I feel like I should sing Melina. Oh my
Isn't
God.
that funny? I
It's
know,
so
right?
wild. I'm like, this is so wild.
I love it. I'm so happy you're here. So, everyone out there, thank you so much for watching today. We're so happy that you tuned in. And I hope you catch it, or if you're catching it on the replay, enjoy the conversation and the live singing. And we will be back, or I will be back next weekend with another live. And you don't want to miss this one either. So, take care, and we'll see you in the next one.